Okay, good. Okay. Welcome to Parents' Night, everyone. We're really glad to have you with us. Congratulations, you've made it through 2020. We're hoping for bigger and better things for 2021. We're so happy to be spending this time with you guys. Today, we are starting a new series called Navigation.
Mm-hmm. We live in a time where we are almost constantly being bombarded by all kinds of messages, ideas, beliefs, all kinds of stuff that just flows into our lives. Some of these ideas, these thoughts are good. Some of them are, harmless. Some are foolish. But some of these ideas are outright bad or even evil. Now, as adults, most of us have developed an internal compass that helps us to wade through the sea of information that swirls all around us every day. The goal is aiming towards what is good, avoiding what is bad that causes issues. Now, when it comes to our kids and our teenagers, they're in the process of developing their own compass as they wade through the flood of information that pours into their lives. As parents, our role in this area is helping our kids to navigate through all the stuff that's going on in their lives, but also to help them develop their own internal compass so that they're not going to be dependent on us forever. Because the goal is one day to be able to let them go, send them out into the world, and they can set their own course and hopefully not experience shipwreck. When our kids are very young, we have a very active role in this, guiding almost all of their steps. But as they grow, we pull back and we give them more space to develop and to make their own choices and set their own course. In an ideal world, kids would just naturally grow into this all on their own. They would develop into healthy, responsible, wise adults, and they would just be perfect. Unfortunately, our kids, I don't know about your kids are probably better, but our kids are human, and they're prone to making mistakes and failure, especially in light of all the mixed and broken signals and messages that flood into their lives every day. So how do we as parents help them in this? I think one of the best places to start off is with a good foundation. And there's no better foundation than the Word of God.
The Bible talks about how you should raise a child up in the way that they should go. I think having a biblical perspective is very important. And how do we successfully finish parenting with such a complex task? Obviously, I don't have all the answers because my kids are still quite small. But from my own experience so far and observations that I have made, I believe it's through everyday conversations that we have with them when the opportunity presents itself with them in their company. A day can come and go so fast, but when we see those little moments of opportunity to influence certain emotions they let out, or certain actions they express, or something that they talk about that they heard in school or that they've seen on TV. I think we need to invite ourselves into that moment and bring our wisdom and our guidance for their developing minds, taking that opportunity to do that. If the goal for our children is to see life through a biblical lens, once they mature and leave our nests and learn to fly on their own, it's so important to not be lazy with those little opportunities, to engage with them in their life, in their day-to-day life. Even if it's short, keeping small behaviors in check will yield big result later. I see parenting like seeds I get to plant and I get to water again and again. And it gets bigger, but eventually it starts yielding fruit, and I don't need to be the gardener anymore.
So training up our kids with a solid biblical foundation is critical, because everything that we build from there, if we don't have a solid foundation, it's gonna shake and fall down. It's almost like there's a parable that Jesus once told about, a wise and a foolish builder. The wise builder built his life on Jesus' words, and the foolish builder just built it on shifting sand. He didn't take Jesus' words and apply them. He just heard them and left them. So we should encourage our kids in that, to take what Jesus has taught them and to grow in that. Another big part of this is learning how to engage their hearts and their minds. A great way we can do this is by asking great questions. Not always just telling them what they need to do. It's really easy to just say, hey, this is good, this is bad. But what we've done, if all we ever do is just tell them what's right and what's wrong, is we don't engage them in the process. We're not engaging their little minds in deciphering what's right and wrong. We're just teaching them to be followers.
Lots of times I think they come to their own conclusion, the one that we want them to do when we ask those questions.
Yeah, so we don't want to just tell our kids what to do. We want to make sure that we engage them in the process. We ask them good questions that will lead them to the right path. Another important part of helping them to build their own compass and establish a good navigation system is being aware of what kind of content they're consuming right now, being wise with what they're consuming. I read some statistics earlier that said that back in the 70s, a person would typically see anywhere from 500 to 1,600 advertisements a day. In 2007, we were up to about 5,000 advertisements per day. And now here in 2021, we're hitting about the 6,000 to 10,000 advertisements every single day. So that's a lot of messages that we're all taking in. And each of those advertisements has different kinds of truths that they're pushing and different things that they're saying is important for your life.
There's a lot of likely a lot of questions that raises too that they don't ever get to ask, or if you're not asking them, you don't help them figure those truths out.
Absolutely. And that's why it's really important to be aware of what our kids are consuming and engage with them, talk with them. Don't just tell them what to think. Engage their hearts and their minds in this. Another really important piece to this is modeling it ourselves. I've said it before, kids are great observers, but they're terrible interpreters. If they see us not engaging in being aware with what choices we're making and how we're leading, they're going to get a very broken view. If they see us say, hey, don't do this, but then we do it ourselves, they're not getting a sense of building a good compass. They're just seeing that, it's okay to skirt around whatever is inconvenient for us in the moment or whatever we don't feel like doing in the moment. Also, a big part of this is modeling how to respond when we make mistakes. Because believe it or not, you, me, we all make mistakes. And kids will learn a lot from how us as parents handle when we make mistakes. Finally, in this series, we're going to be talking about knowing when to step back. Because there's certain points where it's really important to lean in, and then there's other points where we need to learn to step back, and we need to learn to let our kids make the choices, even make the mistakes. As much as we hate the idea of our kids making mistakes, getting hurt, and having trouble in their lives, if we don't let them make those mistakes, if we don't let them step out on their own, they're not actually going to grow. They're going to be stunted in their growth, and it's not going to be healthy for them at all. So what we've talked about so far, these are all things that we're going to be exploring in the next several weeks as we dig into this series on navigation. Hey, so we just want to encourage you guys to not just take in this content through YouTube or through whatever podcast you're taking this in on, but we want to encourage you guys to tune into our Zoom nights, because this is where we get to spend the time to unpack these a lot more than you get in a short video. Now, here's the thing. We don't have all the answers. We don't know everything, but we love getting together with everybody because people have such a wide variety of experience and knowledge and understanding these subjects. And that's really where things grow.
And there's different range of age of parents and different, there can be such a big age difference in our children as well.
Yeah, so our next Zoom night is going to be January 28th. If you'd love to join with us, we would love to have you. And if you don't know how to get connected, you can either message through this video, you can send an email to youth@wfgf.org, or if you're listening on a podcast, just send us a message through whatever platform you're using, and we'll connect with you guys. And with that said, we're going to sign off for tonight.
Bye.